So this is going to put up in the archive for all of you who are new here. So Andrew's going to hopefully get a laugh out of that by seeing this in the archive. But let's quickly take a peek here. Um, so this is constant contact, and this is an email. A lot of you have said to me, well, I don't necessarily have content that I could share. If I don't have a listing, what do I do? Or I can't keep doing the same listing. This is a very good example of that. I'm with Douglas Elliman Real Estate, as are about 40% of you. And at least in our company, there is the new construction division or new development. And this is, I believe, the Boca glass house. Actually, Daniel, what is this? Is it because we need to put that on here?
Yeah, the Boca Glass House, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to, we this hasn't gone out yet. Like I said, it's the first time seeing it. We need to mention what product that is. That's kind of important.
Okay.
Okay. You don't need to do it the second. Poor Daniel's running off here. Um, there's a little something on the team. You're looking at the back end here. Then I have the active listings at St. Andrew's Country Club. Now, you guys hear me talk about St. Andrew's quite a bit. Um, the people who live here, going back to what somebody else was saying about or what Paul was saying, the people who live here do want to see what's going on within the community. But Ed, you already showed off another property. Yeah, maybe so. That was something that came up top. But the people, I've trained them every Wednesday, sometime between Wednesday and Friday these days. We haven't been perfect. But typically every Wednesday, we get this information out to them, which they really, really like. And Daniel, who works very hard for me, puts all this together. I'm going to share with you what it actually looks like. Here's just a brief of what's going on. Sold in 2025, 8 homes on the market, the highest price and the lowest price. Then we got some interesting news from some neighboring communities here. Now, how do we know that this actually works? Well, let's take a look here for a second. In a program like Constant Contact, we could take a look at my May 7th report, and you can see what that looked like at some point. Okay, here we go. Okay. So same thing. This is my image. It's being replaced because we just had a photo shoot. But it talked about the brokers open, RSVPing. This was actually, and then we had the same type of information. Let's take a look at what the results were, because that's what you really need to be concerning yourself with. So we could see that there were 795 opens. There were 14.21 cents, so 1,421 cents, and there were 14 bounces. We need to review those bounces. But look at this. Aha. 48 unique clicks. Now, what's something's interesting, Apple automatically opens up these opens for you. If you have a Mac, this number might be wildly inaccurate. So this whole thing, 56.5%, might not be the best thing for you to judge. This, however, aha, 3.4% of those people actually opened. And let's take a look at what that means. You could actually see where people clicked. Let's take a look at some of these links. So, Bogen Homes for Sale, 25 people clicked on this thing to RSVP. Watch this facial expression. You like that? That's my facial expression. Why is that important? It's important when you know that people have actually clicked on something because you know that there may very well be an interest in it. If those 25 people clicked on something, if you put something out there that says, click here to find out what my house is worth, and somebody clicks on it and they don't fill out their information, is that person a good or bad lead?
You
Anyone
could probably,
else? Go ahead, Terry.
you, I was gonna say you could
It's
probably I would reach out to him.
yeah, it's still a good lead.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not a good lead. It's a fucking great lead. I put the curse there because I want to emphasize it. I use curse words to emphasize things that are important. Some of you don't like it, but that's okay. That is something that's really, really important. And what we really all need desperately is some inside information of what's actually happening within the community itself. At the heart of it, I am a farmer. I'd like you to be a farmer, whether it's farming an actual area or farming a vertical, a particular group of people. The farmers make the most money. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. They just make the most money. I've got a meeting with 30 people today in one of my listings. That listing's being sold for $9 million. It's got a 3% commission. Who's good with math? It's not that tough. Steven's good with math. 3% of 9 million.
270,000?
$270,000. Do you know what you could do with $270,000? That's a 4-year college degree.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
phenomenal.
but it's GCI. Okay, fine. You got the broker's split. I get that.
Right. Broker's play.
But that's it's a lot of money, and a lot of you go about the business just really thinking about yourselves as kind of it's almost like an afterthought. I hear things like, "Oh, I don't swing in those circles," or "I don't know those types of people," or "I'm not that wealthy," or there's whatever excuse you want to come up with. Believe me, somebody else is thinking it, but you sure as hell will not get through unless you actually try. If I could have one thing for all of you today, if I could have one wish, and that would be that you learn to embrace these tools today. Email is absolutely vital. So let's go back through some of these things as well and throw in questions as you have it. Um, Over here, the St. Andrews community. Now, there's 15 people that actually clicked to see what was listed in St. Andrews. Okay, is anyone seeing the value to this? This guy is a neighbor of mine. This guy here I know. Here's an agent that I know. I mean, so there's various people that are doing various things, but now it's actually narrowed the focus. Because if they've done this, the question that I have for all of you, and this is where many of you fall short, is what do you do after they click? What's the next move? Dina, Marlene, or Hedeka, what is the next move that you make after you see they've clicked?
Pick up the phone and call them.
Fucking A, I love it. Yes, pick up the phone and call them. That's a great thing to do. Holy cow. And again, I don't mean to sound like the master of the obvious here, but it amazes me how few of you actually do some of the obvious things with all of this. Email allows you the opportunity to get through where you weren't able to get through before. Now, I've spoken briefly about constant contact. There's MailChimp. I was going to say MonkChimp. I don't use it. MailChimp, which is a competitor of Constant Contact. I know Douglas Elliman has its proprietary brand. I'm sure your other agencies have a proprietary brand, whether it's Keller Williams, I know has one. I know Compass has one. I know we've got some Compass people here. Who else? What other technologies are out there that you guys are using that, I always learn from you here.
Follow up boss.
Follow Up Boss, good. I'm on Follow Up Boss as well. That's a CRM. We're going to talk about CRM, Stephen. I'm glad you brought that up. Paula?
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say Follow Up Boss. I've gone back to Follow Up Boss because Remax gives us KV Core for free. It's a great program. Problem is using it. It's so complex, and Follow Up Boss is so easy. So
We use Follow Up Boss for our CRM, but we use MailChimp for our mailings.
right. So that's what I was going to ask Jonathan. Like, what's the difference? Like, why do you need both?
We get better data out of MailChimp. We get better success, and it's easier to use. And my virtual assistant just can bang the stuff out.
Thank you.
You like that? Okay. Context matters, timing and speed matters, and most importantly, tracking matters. Who's tracking their email campaigns? All of this is in the workbook, by the way. So, when you open it up, I really sincerely hope that you download all of this. We'll also talk about the Can Spam Act and actually sending unwanted emails, which is known as spam. Hormel, the makers of the food product called Spam, was very, very upset that people are referring to unwanted email as the name of their product. It's really, if you think about it, it's a PR nightmare because they ain't changing that. Look it up. It's a true story. Hormel, very upset by this.
Oh, that is too funny, especially if you're Hawaiian. Spam is the meat of Hawaii.
Is that okay? Terry, it amazes me how I learn new unuseful stuff from you all the time.
Unuseful. Thank you, Edmund.
Actually, it's
Love
good
you,
trivia.
Gobs.
It's good trivia. It's good trivia.
Well, it's because it's canned. Everything in Hawaii has to be shipped there, you know?
Yeah. So, let's get back to it. As far as an email that you would want to open, an email that you would want to open, let's give us a laundry list of ideas here. I want to hear it. Jonathan, no?
So yeah, so the first thing I would say is the email can't when they first look at the subject or the email, it's not that you're selling something. You're providing value, you're providing something that they want as opposed to something that you want.
Okay. So what are some of the things that you might be able to provide? And I'm
Um,
not going to just pick on Jonathan. I'm going to pick on all of you about this. Wrestle with it. Don't just
so we you talked about events earlier. A recent email campaign that we did a shredding event. Not selling real estate. We ended up getting like 150 people coming to our shredding event. We ended up getting two listing presentations out of it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
When are you doing it again?
We do it annually.
Okay, good. So that's in his marketing mix. And I guess you're probably, and how do you get people to go there?
Well, it's obviously it's a multifaceted marketing campaign, but part of it is email.
Okay, email.
I mean, we obviously we do social. Uh, we do town stuff. We do it all over the place, but email we do postcards, but email is a huge part of it as well.
Sure. Okay. So again, what's in it for me? He's not asking to sell your house or to sell you a house or to get a lead from someone who wants to buy or sell a house. He's saying without the expectation of anything, at least that's how the email's coming across, that he's ready, willing, and able to help you with something. And people, I'm looking at a pile of crap on my desk. I wish you had the truck outside. I'd go drop all this off now. And my goodness, Jonathan, he's so handsome. I wonder who makes his shirts. We got, we want people to say all that stuff. That's really where you're going with all that. The content itself, let me give you some ideas here. And Daniel, if you could pick it up, I don't know if you could find the hurricane preparedness guide. Okay, look that up for me, Daniel. And then you could put that into the chat here. We've made a hurricane preparedness guide. We're in Florida. Hurricanes are reality. It's brought to you by the Edmund Bogen team at Douglas Elliman Real Estate. Is that something that people who live in a hurricane-prone area might want to receive?
Yes, for sure.
Are my competitors doing it? No, they're not. Why? Because they're fucking stupid. No, because because they just there's so much that you could do. I'm not telling you you have to do all the stuff. I'm trying to give you a laundry list of things that you might be able to deliver. In Florida, we have hurricanes. In California, where's my Californians? Okay, Kenny, we got there. Kenny, what's one of the things that you have in California that's very unique to the place and happens all the time and it's kind of shaky?
Uh, that's probably Magic Mountain. No, just kidding.
7.4 in the Richter.
Earthquakes are fun. I live near the San Andreas Fault, actually. So
Okay.
Yes.
there's a couple of things some agents, I moved to Real Broker and out of San Diego for one, and they got us on there's a new program I'm gonna just use, and my wife handles most of this stuff, and it's called Lofty. But there's a couple things that one of the agents is doing, or one of the head agents is doing, is he's sending out emails and so forth on like, hey, I've got a listing appointment coming up for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. If you got any, someone who may be interested, doesn't give out a whole ton of information. Or when he's got an accepted offer on a property, it's like it went out in multiple offers. There's 5 people that didn't get it. So if you're thinking of selling, so he's already like preempting, stuff, even though he doesn't have a listing, or, he just keeps letting people know that he's active in a sense. So, just to stir the pot and get a conversation going.
Yeah. Or maybe an earthquake preparedness guide
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
that you could now easily produce on ChatGPT. You don't even need to go anywhere else. But ChatGPT, Daniel, did you email that to me? Or did
I put it on a chat.
you put it on the chat? Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you. So you guys, so now all of you have it, but I'll just share it here for the sake of you to see it. This is,
Yeah.
we need to change this because the technology's gotten better since last hurricane season. To me, this doesn't look very good.
Yeah.
But this, right? I mean, it's gotten a lot better. But this is the Hurricane Preparedness Guide. It was written, Daniel, make sure we redo this like next week, okay?
Okay.
I mean, it's fine, but it's the technology's just gotten better and better and better.
Yeah.
We're able to crank this stuff out. And here's the thing, I could see who downloads it. When I add this into my emails, I could see who's actually clicked on it.
Right.
When I speak with someone, if I sell them a house, I could send this to them as part of the closing, as part of something for them to actually take a look at. And it gives, some of it is fairly obvious stuff, prepare for damage. You're probably going to be somewhat prepared for it, but to be able to have something like that as a giveaway is a really, really important thing. What's unique? We have a hurricane preparedness guide, we've got an earthquake preparedness guide. What's something that might go on in your area that doesn't have to necessarily be so negative? Doesn't have to be an earthquake, but what could be something that you could produce? Anyone?
We have a lot of, oh,
Go ahead.
hi.
Dina, hi.
Hi. We have a lot of new restaurants that open, particularly at the beginning of season, and it's always nice to send out. It's like kind of just a thing in Delray. People like to go out to eat and whatever. And when we have new restaurant openings, it's always a big thing.
Great. So Dina, we're going to do that. Dina's restaurant review. Of course, the Edmund Bogen team's on there because she's on my team, but it's the restaurant review by Dina. One of your beautiful new pictures go into that, right, Dina?
Yes, I love my
Okay.
beautiful
And
new
then we get
pictures.
pictures of each place, a little write-up about each. And you could give, this is Dina's, it could be your monthly thing, the top 5 picks of the month that you must try. People love
Yeah.
that type of stuff. And you're going to begin to discover very quickly who your allies are. Your problem is this in your sales. You're not collecting allies. You're not collecting people that are going to be a referral base, that are going to be buyers or sellers. There's those 3 people, and that's it in this world for the purpose of this conversation. There are people who want to buy, there are people who want to sell, and there's people who are going to refer you to both. That's it. Let's dumb it down as much as we possibly can and then talk about the kind of content that could really go through. We're also going to get into ChatGPT, and I'll show you a little trick that you might find interesting. Actually, I'm going to take you into Claude and show you a little trick that you might find interesting because a lot of you, again, have said to me over and over and over again, you just can't get any content. And what I love to say is content is everywhere. There's just so much about it. You do need to put a little bit of time into it, but it's so important to come up with the critical content that actually matters. Let me actually, while we're at it here, any questions? You could just jump in with your questions as you have them.
Well, now that you brought that up,
It
Edmund, as far as your chat GPT, I saw you do something about deep research or run deep research that I was not aware of. Or I mean, I'm starting to implement chat GPT. So after watching your Facebook clip, that was amazing. Yeah. Mhm.
Sure. Deep research is a functionality that if you are a pro user, well, if you're any user has a couple of
Oh,
different searches a month. A pro, don't know,
I'm not there yet. I'm not
don't
there
get
yet
sad.
as
Don't
far
get
as
sad.
affordability.
It's a whopping $20 a month.
Mm,
I've been telling everyone that this is something that is going to be required, just like it's required to be a member of the Realtors Association. I think
sure.
it's going to be something. Let me share with you something that I've done with an AI called Claude.
Okay.
Some of you have seen this before. I know I share my love of Claude with a few of you. Claude has something called projects. Claude is a competitor of ChatGPT.
Oh,
And in these projects, you're able to put information. Here I've got Email Central, which I made. And I've got a memorandum about my coaching, about my luxury real estate, something about Paula, something about Terry. I've got different people who are in here that I've actually done work with and business with. And if I'm going to actually take from that project, I'm going to use a project here. No, don't want to do that. Email Central. Okay, so I'm going to use what I call the Email Central project. Now, Terry, um, give me an address that is near you right now. Give me an actual physical address. What I'm going to show you is going to kind of blow you away, I think, but let's see.
111, no, 205 Park Place.
Edmund, same concept as ChatGPT. Just set up an account and you're good to go.
Yep, similar to
Simple.
yeah,
Okay.
similar. Set up an account, not necessarily good to go, but that's a good start.
Yeah.
Park Place, where is that, Terry?
Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, New York. Is it a single family dwelling or is it an apartment
It's
building?
it's an apartment building.
Okay, apartment what?
14,
There's no A or B or anything like that?
correct.
Okay. Now watch this. Please look up who owns this apartment, what they do, and return that information. Um, also with the context of who I am, please write a pitch email. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this in case there's no guarantee it's going to work every time, but let's just take a look here. And I'll explain the magic behind how it worked in a second. Now, of course, this guy's got to think about it. And first thing it's doing is actually searching the web. I hope you could see this. It found the building. Now it's trying to find the specific property, the apartment. And now it's still trying to seek out the owner. Now it's looking at Property Shark. So it's going through all the different tools that you might use. Okay, so he hasn't gotten the exact owner of that particular thing.
Well, and Edmund, this, now that I think of it, this is a co-op, so
Ah,
that
okay.
information is not as easily found. Although, look at them
But
go.
it's giving when it was built, the building has 4 stories. It says where it is by the subway lines, all this different information. And now it's writing, Dear, I hope this email finds you well. My name is Edmund Bogen. I'm a luxury real estate specialist with Douglas Elliman, based here in South Florida. Obviously, that's in New York. It's obviously programmed a certain way. Terry, you'll change it. With
Sure.
the connections throughout the New York market, I'm reaching out because I'm working with several high net worth clients who are specifically seeking quality co-op opportunities in Prospect Heights, and 205 Park Place has caught my attention as an exceptional property in one of Brooklyn's most desirable neighborhoods. Holy shit. Does that freak anyone out? Is that pretty cool?
Ooh. Now, but you're saying that if this had been like a condo or a townhouse, it would actually pull up the owner's
Correct.
name.
Correct. If
Okay.
you need to work it. It's not the easiest thing in the world. It's not going to be the simplest thing. This is just off the presses, guys. This is 5 days old. They just released the new thing. I've been, of course, up in the middle of the night saying, "Can I look this up? Can I look that up?" For me, I'm saying find a realtor in Anchorage, Alaska, and get their bio and all of that, and then send them a pitch letter to join um, our mastermind. So you could do different things. Who else has another property that we might be able to look up? That was a little disappointing. I want to get like an actual name of someone. Anyone?
So Edmund,
Just
let's
use
go
my
with
Go ahead, Greg.
313
Okay, hold on.
Middleton Boulevard,
Okay, do the same for 313 middle.
Middleton Boulevard, Somerville, South Carolina.
Summer with an O.
S no SUMMVILLE,
Okay,
South Carolina 29485.
29485. Right?
Yep.
Maybe? Okay, let's see. Is that your address? So you see it actually walk through the research. And I'm going to do one other thing with this that we're now going to be rolling out pretty soon. This is something that actually takes a little bit of programming. Let me give it a second. Owner, Gregory Bear, Jacqueline Bear, Andrew Coggins, Patricia Coggins. So there's a few owners there. I see the whole Coggins thing going on there. It gives the highlights of this property. And then let's see. Dear Gregory and Jacqueline, I hope this message finds you and your family well. My name is Edmund Bogen. I'm a luxury real estate specialist at blah, 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 blah. I'm reaching out because your home, 313 Middleton Boulevard, caught my attention as an exceptional property in Somerville's most prestigious neighborhoods. So it goes on with all this. You could adjust accordingly. But one other thing I want to say to you, and you could look at this now, please write this up as a 5 email drip campaign. Do it as if you were a world-class email marketing specialist, and make sure it is highly engaging. Okay, just through a little bit. So now what this is actually going to do is go out and create 5 email drip campaigns And we're going to be doing a little bit more on this. Again, what I'm doing now with Aton is we're trying to get this programmed to do all this automatically and then return it for scheduling into your own email system. So we got email number one, the market intelligence hook, email two, social proof,
Wow.
email three, insider perspective. Send this on day 8. I don't know if you can see that, day 8 right here.
Right.
And so you've got this whole setup here that actually gets created. Once again, we're taking it a step further. You could do all of this right now by yourself. We're taking it a step further and tapping into what's called the API or the back end, the back door, the means of being able to have one computer talk to another. And we're going to set this up to be, a certain number of emails you're going to be able to send out per month, and we're going to try and bundle it in with the membership to our mastermind here. So it's kind of exciting stuff. It's an interesting process. It's brand new. If you do it, you will be the only person, Terry, in Brooklyn to do this. Paula, you will be the only woman in Queens to be doing it this way. No one is doing it right now. You ever have someone say to you, you know what, I'm always a day late and a dollar short? Don't be. This is it. This is really, and I try to keep all of you up to snuff on what's going on with the new moves in technology. But this is something that absolutely positively is going to make a huge difference. Why? Because it's going to increase the velocity of your engagement. And aside from that, I'm going to get Paul and then I'm going to get Greg in a second. And aside from that, it's going to be your biggest challenge right now is that you're not meeting enough people. This is going to help you do just that in a much more organized fashion. We're also going to be talking about texting. There's going to be mass texting that's available. You've got to be really cautious with all of this stuff. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be the person that ruins it all and comes up with really crappy content. Paula, go ahead.
So, Ed, why is Claude, for example, how do you know which one to use? That's my question. I use chat a lot. Why is Claude better at
In
that?
in this instance, I found that the whole nature of making projects, when we were coaching, we have every recording of your session in there. I save it. And when I work with people one-on-one, that goes specifically into, to me, that's an absolute game changer. Because what that's really doing is I could just say, based on this new news of what's going on in New York, what do you think will affect Paula? And it will know specifically how to answer that question because it has the context in that profile, in that project of you. That's where I think the major difference is. Aside from that, it's got a much longer thinking context at this point. Again, I don't want to geek out on everyone. I know Scott, my intern, is joining us today, who's helping me geek out on some of the stuff, or at least he will starting next week. But it's giving you a lot more context and ability to think of it, just trying to make it in plain English. It just gives you a little bit more. ChatGPT is sensational, and here's the thing: it's a race. ChatGPT tomorrow could open up something that's going to kick its butt. This is the wild, wild west. This is why all of you are coming here. I mean, we're staying on top of this stuff so you don't have to. I mean, we're really trying to bring the best of the best of the best to you. Greg, go ahead.
I was going to ask, how are you capturing email addresses?
How are we capturing email addresses? Well, whatever is publicly available. Let's go back to this thing and see if if your email was in here. Um, let's see. It is
Pending in Fort Lauderdale for 50 million.
okay. Whoever's chatting, you might want to mute yourself. Let me just see who that is. Okay. You're asking it to return the information. You're not always getting all the information, Greg. It's not always going to come up. Sometimes, if I go after someone, there might need to be further research. And there is, the good news is this: if you're doing this in scale, 1,000 homes or more, and you start going after it, you're going to be able to come up with some data on some of the people, just as it was able to look you up. Right now, I'm sure if I Googled you, I'd probably come up with your email address. But again, it gets a little bit cumbersome. We're working on ways of making this a lot more seamless. But even as it is right now, even if it's cumbersome, how much better would your career be if you just did 5 of these emails a day,
Absolutely.
right? How much better would your career be? If you gave like a real personalized the email, this is not an excuse not to read it. It's not an excuse not to do it. There's been famous cases of lawyers who just gave it all to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT made up case law, and the guy's being disbarred now. Okay, it was complete bullshit. This is not an excuse for you to do that, but use it for what it is. Use it for this incredible opportunity that you never had before, and you set up an intellectual discipline. The intellectual discipline with me it's called the Pomodoro technique, 25 minutes of constant, non-interrupted work where you just sit and think about that one particular thing. I have Pomodoros, I've got 4 Pomodoros a day. One of them is to write note cards. And in that 25 minutes, I write between 4 and 5 note cards, usually 4. My handwriting gets a little messy. So that's something that it's a non-negotiable. I actually put that down. I've started late today because I've got you guys, but usually it's every morning I send 4 to 5 postcards or note cards. Another non-negotiable is prospecting. If you could set up 25 minutes, this could be one of those non-negotiables. There's a lot of you that can't stand making cold phone calls, and I get it. We were taught just don't be nice, don't get in the way, be polite, stay quiet. It's great if you're a child, but as a grown realtor, 80% of realtors fail the first 5 years of the job, and it's not because they're making money. They leave the business because they let certain things get in the way from their success. And I'm saying to all of you, there's great ways of tackling this. Email is just one of them. So I hope that this was just a little bit of an overview of what's going on. We also have an encore of this. Daniel, we're doing this again on Friday, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So we have an
12. Yeah.
12 noon Eastern Standard Time on Friday. We're going to talk about this topic again. Always other things tend to come up as well, but we are starting to do that a bit because some of you, especially for topics that I think are so important, and this is one of them. This is really one of them. I mean, we're talking about a low cost. If you even subscribe to Claude and you pay the $20 a month, what are you spending? Come on, what are you doing? We're talking about 2 lattes. Just skip Starbucks that day. Kenny, I'll get you in a second. Steven just had his hand up.
Yeah, a couple. So you said note cards prospecting. Then what other the other? Well, first of all, on your note cards, Edmund, do you have a look of your note card by any chance?
It's stationary. So my stationery has my just Edmund Bogen across the top. It's nice and raised. My wife got it so that you rub your thumb over it and it feels all nice and raised. And the back of it just has my address. And it's
Clean.
a clean brown note. It looks like something that a thank you note almost that somebody could
Okay.
send you.
Perfect. Thanks.
But don't overthink it, Stephen. You're a winner
Yeah.
for doing it. There's some
Yeah.
people that never do any of this.
Yeah.
Kenny, go ahead.
Yeah, I just said somebody put in the chat, can you get AI to look up pre-foreclosures, expireds for sale by owners? And can AI call them transferred to me when someone answers? I just took that. I don't know if you guys saw that post. Somebody's asking
Yeah,
that question.
Are you back at the gym? Not is always that's remember what you just said about being lazy? That's oh, look at him, he's at a party now. Okay, he's doing something. Can you have it do everything? No, but it's going in that direction. And the more personalized you learn how to make it, well, let's see how much of this was. Can you look up a foreclosure? Let's take a look. In all honesty, I haven't tried it. Can you look up a foreclosure in Boca Raton, Florida, and return the owner name and other person?
Like if I want to look up pre-foreclosure listings, and I live in Parkland,
Mm-hmm.
and within like 5 miles radius of me, and send them letters to sell, would it be able to do that? Or also
Oh,
expired listings?
you could look up, well, all of this is available on the MLS. So the short answer is yes. Once we get into, okay, so what is this saying? There are currently 7 to 9 foreclosures for sale in Boca Raton at listing median price of $699 Zillow. So it found what was on Zillow. You know what? I'm going to mess with it a little bit. Like I said, this is so new. I haven't even considered major commercial foreclosures. So we find this all out. But unlike ChatGPT and what you've just been using it for, you've been using AI as pretty much Google. Isn't that the truth? Nod wildly.
Mm,
Using it pretty much as Google. Now this is a true partner in your business.
mm.
And this is something that really, depending upon where you've done it or not, you gave me a good idea. You basically, thank you. You're contributing to my insomnia. I will wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning today and start working on this, and I will return it to you, I promise. Now, isn't that worth the cost of admission, huh?
Another question actually I have for you.
Sure.
I always get these phone calls that I feel for sure they're made by AI.
Mhm.
And if you click on something to speak to somebody, somebody picks up. How do they do that?
It's a good question. I'm not, yes, it is AI when they have the AI actually call you for the hard part, which is the insulting part, which is the thing that none of you want to face. You know, when it calls you and it says, "Hey, Paula, it's Edmund Bogen with Douglas Elliman Real Estate. I wanted to talk with you about getting all of your money and selling your house and doing all," that's the thing that you have in your mind, and that's the hard part. What they're doing is having AI make the initial call. Just a warning to you. Governments and agencies, state and federal, are coming down hard on salespeople if you're not careful with this stuff.
Mhm.
What I'm talking about with this today is a carefully crafted message among maybe 5 or 6 properties a day. If you really did 5 a day, that's 25 a week, that's 100 a month. Something's going to happen. Something's going to happen if it's a real thought out thing. And if we're able to successfully bring this into a drip campaign, which again, Eitan and I are working on it now. When we get this actually into a drip campaign, hey, there's the birthday boy. I guess you're late because you're celebrating. Eitan, welcome to 56, Eitan.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Eitan has always been 3 days younger than me, and this is the 3 days I get.
No, a year and 3 days. Come on.
Yeah, a year. Sorry, 362 days. But yeah, so Renaud, where is he? There he is. I'm just saying that there are many different things and ways you could use the AI. If it's not directly mapped to doing it the way you want to do it, that's what we're coming in. We're working on getting into the API and getting into the back end of these systems to be able to create something that actually works for you. Our next step, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a treasure trove of information. So LinkedIn does have a public API. If you're able to get through the doorway of LinkedIn and then pull the context of that, let's say you look up the expired listing. How about this? Okay, this is just coming to me here. Okay, Evil Knievel couldn't make this leap, but I'm about to. And to our young people, Evil Knievel was a very famous stuntman in the 70s. Okay, so now the MLS says that it expired. This gets captured by the AI. The AI goes to the tax records and gets the ownership of that. Great, now that's verified. The AI then goes to LinkedIn and see if it's able to match the profile of that particular person. Everybody seeing where I'm going here?
Sure.
Now it comes back, hey, Jonathan, I see you went to
But
Tufts
can I interrupt
University.
you?
I'm sorry?
Can I interrupt you?
No,
Sorry.
I was in the middle of an anecdote. Okay, go ahead. What?
No. You finish. You're right. You're right.
So you've got the data coming from multiple data points, and now a drip campaign could actually go around that. That to me is a very interesting thing because an event has actually taken place. An event has taken place. The person may have a limited amount of time to be able to get his life together. We could even get it when it goes to before foreclosure, Liz pendants, when it's actually going into the court system. We need to talk about it. Eitan, go ahead.
So, I mean, I got the AI to actually verify the SMTP of the email address. So not only it verifies that the email address is on the bio of the prospect, but also it then is able to ping it to their mailbox and see if the mailbox responds and validate that email address.
Okay. So basically,
And that's huge.
without getting, again, speaking in layman's terms here. So that's one of the things that Eitan's been doing on the back end, trying to figure out how do we actually capture the information. And now he's saying, and again, this is the first time we're talking about it, that he's able to figure that out. We will be rolling this out to all of you at some point. This is something that we are actively working on. It is not the easiest thing to actually foot. It's very easy for you to go and do it manually on your own. It's a very different story to have it actually managed and managed to the point that you need it managed. So that's one of the things I invite you to all go try it. Certainly try a free Claude account. And if you like it so much, you might want to subscribe to it. And if you have questions about it, call me and I'll set up a special meeting with you on how to set these things up. In fact, I'll say to all of you, if you'd like that, please send an email to Daniel at Bogen Homes that you'd be interested in getting that set up. And Daniel might set up a couple times next week where I could show you how to go through the setup in this. Again, yeah, Daniel put his email in the thing. So if you'd like to do that, I think that would be a great exercise. Okay, we're really running behind here. Anything else on this topic before we get to wants, needs, and brags? Anyone? Anyone? Ferris Bueller? Hello? Maybe? Okay.
Ed, I have a question. You know,
Okay.
I have a I have a neighborhood WhatsApp, and people keep asking questions about like who to use for repair, for this, for that. So I was just thinking, actually last night, that maybe I should just make a list of all the information that there
Nice.
is on that WhatsApp. And then now I'm just thinking, what is the best way to basically send it to all my neighbors? Kind of like a directory, like neighborhood directory, basically. So does it make sense? I don't know.
Whatever keeps you engaged with the community.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling you have the same issue as I do. We're both nice people, but to some
Yeah.
people, it ends just there, that you're not the realtor.
Yeah.
That's look, guys, I'm a top producer. If I could admit that, then you guys should be able to admit that too. I've done very well in real estate. I continue to do very well in real estate, and yet I've got major flaws that I still need to overcome. And I'm trying very hard to do that. I think what most of you like about this is how candid I am about that. I think that it's important to it's the schmuck that says that they're great at everything. You just don't buy it. I mean, you need to improve. Every single day is a chance. But Hedeke, yes, I think there are ways of doing that. We should definitely chat. I think it's definitely ways of if you come up with a neighborhood guide or directory, that's great stuff.
Okay.
Who else? Okay, wants, needs, and brags. Now's the time in the meeting to talk about what you want, what you need, and what you'd like to brag about. It's Eitan's birthday. That's what I'll brag about. Happy birthday, Eitan.
Thank you so
I'd say
much.
you're not
Happy
a year older, but actually, yeah, you are. You're a year older. He's a fraternity brother of mine. We poke fun at each other all the time. The other thing, I actually got Daniel here in person, earlier this week, and it was great.
By
Meeting.
the way, I think that was amazing.
It was really fun. So you could see that on social media. I hope we're all connected on Instagram and Facebook and all that. So that's my wants, needs, and brags. Maybe somebody else has a deal or something they want to brag about. So maybe I had someone that in a meeting in the past say they beat cancer, which is amazing. Anyone?
Well, I have a closing. I'm closing on a townhouse today. It's not a cure for cancer, but I can pay my mortgage.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. That's great stuff. Good for you, Terry. Everyone get to know Terry. Anyone who's afraid to make a cold call Terry.
I will warm you up.
Yes. Yes. Because there's, there's an old saying, you don't get scared, when at night walking down the street and you run into Terry. It's just not a scary person, that's okay. Who else? Anyone? Okay. Anyone have any AI questions before we go on? Okay, as I said,
I do.
okay, go ahead.
So you mentioned trying Claude for free.
Yes.
So I can tell you it's a miserable experience because Claude for free has nothing to do with the paid Claude.
Okay.
So much better when you pay because the free version is actually gonna dissuade you from subscribing. So
Fair enough.
and for a long time, Ed has recommended Claude, and I being a ChatGPT fan, and I just subscribed to Claude, and I can tell you it's really fantastic and superior, even better than DeepSeek, and I even think it does even better than GenSpark, which is also very good.
Okay, so he's naming multiple tools here that some of you may not have heard of. Um, and Robert Lee points out, Robert's a great public speaker as well, and
I would like to know out of our audience who would like to know more about system and which systems to use rather than being biased to the systems.
sort of, kind of. Okay, a few people.
So I propose if you guys are interested, we'll do a comparison between the systems and the AI systems available with pricing and everything, and we should dedicate a meeting for that. What do you think, Edmund?
I think you just, aside from Renat, you just gave me another night of sleeplessness where I have to stay up and figure it out. But sure, let's do that. Marlene, go ahead. You get on mute.
I have an off-topic question about your Canada mailings, if you've had any results.
Yes, we had the Canada mailing. We have a buyer or a seller that we are courting from it. It's been one call so far. It's been somewhat disappointing. Of course, it went out the week of a Canadian mailing strike. You can't make this shit up. That's a good use of $1,000. I don't know. But it went out then, and yes, indeed, we have a woman who very much wants to sell. We've gotten her materials, we've gotten her information, and she said something and this is a meeting that I want to have because Dina is a witness to this.
I also do want to tell you, I sent her, she was a woman who seemed like she would appreciate. I also sent her a handwritten thank you note yesterday because the way you send out your notes, Edmund, I think handwritten personalized things, it just add to everything. They really just flesh out all of the AI stuff.
So, but Dina, stay on for a second.
Mhm.
One thing that she said in the meeting, which comes up, and I think it was a breakthrough moment for me, and I hope it's a breakthrough moment for all of you. What did she say about the competitor realtor in her building, Dina?
She said he'll be so upset if she uses someone else other than him. She'll be
Okay,
so sad. He'll be so sad. Sorry.
but hold on a second. How many of you have seen that before? How many of you have come upon that as competition? One, only one, two, three, four,
Me.
five, six. Okay, holy cow. That's a topic. That's the topic. I mean, that's because that has happened to me multiple times a year where I've had people say, "Oh, I'm going to get them very upset." I mean, can you imagine making a financial decision that way? Can you imagine? I mean, this is not a cheap place. This is $2.5 million. You know what you could do with $2.5 million? I mean, and the commission. You know how much I love to get paid? It's one of my favorite things. Okay. So I could just tell you that these things are very real, and these are scenarios that you don't necessarily plan for as realtors. And I'd like you to think that through because it does happen. It happens more than you think. That people will just say that for whatever reason. And here's the other thing: if you leave with a signed contract, you're far better off. If you walk out without that signed contract, there's a 75 to 80% chance that you will not get that listing. Oh, we had a great rapport. Everything was fabulous. Everything is terrific. More often than not, do I leave with signed contracts? Rarely. I don't. I'm not as good. That's something that I need to improve upon. Okay. But that's the reason why you should listen to me because I know from my experience, and again, Dina's my witness. She's been to enough of these meetings with me that we thought everything went so well. Okay, I just need to do this. And then they signed with somebody else. And then what did they say, Dina, when they signed with somebody else?
That I was scared I was gonna hurt his feelings. I
Yes.
was scared. That was the
Yes.
word you used, scared. I was like, scared? You're
Yes.
scared? What kind of
Scared of
have
this
you just
guy's
spent 5
feelings.
hours listening to you?
This guy's Attila the Hun, okay? There's no feelings
Yeah.
there, okay?
Yeah, but if you see the person regularly in the elevator, in the synagogue, and wherever you go to, it's an issue.
Okay, maybe so, but if you're selling, you're not going to see them anymore now, are you? She will not see that person again. She's going back to Canada. This person's in Florida. All I'm saying is this. You're right. We could throw whatever barrier we want. I think that is a barrier. Um, and yes, Perplexity and ChatGPT. Robert, we will be doing something in the future. Perhaps I'll have you speak if you want, where we could talk about Perplexity as another tool that all of you need to know. You like this AI stuff, right? I mean, is it a good route to go for you? I mean, if you could take a moment and send me what topics you want us to cover, that would be great, great stuff. Um, okay, Terry, you ready? Maybe? Maybe.
Yes.
Yes. Are you sure about that?
Um, yes, I'm ready.
Okay. So when Terry says that he's ready, it makes me look at all of you and say, it sure was good seeing all of you today. This was really a lot of fun. We're going to have another episode on Friday at 12 noon, and I look forward to seeing all of you for that exciting, fun-packed episode of
Rain Nation.
Fantastic. And by the way, we need to work something out with Terry. We are going to be changing the name of Rain Nation. It's going to be somewhere along the lines of the Edmund Bogen Consulting or Coaching, or we got to figure EB. I don't know what it's going to be, but the problem is this: if you Google Rain Nation and Ed Bogen, you get resignation. It's very bad from a branding standpoint. So if any of you have other ideas, that would be great. Hassan, always good to see you. Beard's looking kind of tough. I like that. Uh, Brandy, glad you made it. Scott, I hope we catch up on Monday as planned. Brandy, Hassan, we got, who else do we have? Hassan, we got you logged in twice. Lisa Scotch, always good to have you. Lots Real Estate, Greg, Stephen, all of you, great to have you today. Terry, especially, thank you for singing us out. And finally, Lee and Alex, I'll see you at the open house in about an hour. Good to see everybody.
Hey, Ed,
Yes.
Ed,
Uh-oh,
have
uh-oh.
you
Who's
have
that?
you asked AI how to rebrand?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. I mean, when you talk about it though, there still is opinions um, that come down to it. That
Yeah.
you still have there are multiple approaches that you might take that may or may not fit your profile. One other thing for you to consider, Greg, you use ChatGPT and you're paying for it, right?
I am.
Okay. So if you go to ChatGPT and say, based on what you know about me, how do you think I should improve myself? Or hold up a mirror and be brutal. What's wrong with me? And then tell me how to correct that. You may not like what you hear. It is better than any psychologist I've ever been to. You're pouring your heart out into this thing all day long. Of course, it knows everything about you. So
Yeah.
if you want to find out, it's bad if you just beat yourself up. So if you're the type of person that's going to sit around and say, "Oh, I suck. I'm never going to get better." If you're a fatalist, then please don't do that. But if you think that you go there and just look at it objectively and then ask it to create a plan to help you overcome some of these things, it helps. And by the way, some of it that it sees as a problem might not be a problem to you.
Right.
You might like being a whiny little bitch. I'm kidding. I mean, I want to see if Terry was looking. Guys, good to see everybody. I got a jet. Robert, let's catch up. And thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.